new game stuff episode, and there's quite a few things to look at here. I got quite a bit before Christmas, during Christmas, and for my birthday, all in the same time, so a lot to get through, a lot to gush at today. There's a lot of really unique, cool things buried within all of this stuff here. I will start off with these guys right here. I know. The 4 heroes from Breath of the Wild. I said a long time ago that I was stopping collecting amiibos. How does it keep on getting into my life? I don't know. It's ridiculous. I have the other Breath of the Wild amiibos, and I'm a huge, as you know, fan of Breath of the Wild, that I was like, I have to get these figures. They're so awesome looking, and I kind of just want to collect. I love how I keep changing this. Now I just want to collect amiibos for like Earthbound, the Mother series, and for Breath of the Wild. I think I just want to go for a complete Breath of the Wild amiibo set, and I'll be done after that. Well, we shall see, but these figures are so wonderfully detailed, and I really like the game, and anytime I see anything to do with Breath of the Wild, I was like, I have to pick those up. I picked them up before Christmas. There was a 4-pack of these figures as well. I did not see the 4-pack in stores. Supposedly, it was cheaper than buying all 4 of these separately, but the thing is now I go into Toys R Us, you can't even find these. And I'm just talking about Canada, Vancouver here. If you go, you might find one of these figures. You don't find all 4 of them. And as I say, I've never seen all 4 of them together. That has never happened. Now, a little bit ago, I did an episode on our frustrating hobby and how I was frustrated trying to pre-order a vinyl record online for Sonic Adventure that was signed by the composer. And I was really frustrated. The second it went live, I went to click order and it was sold out. And a lot of people have told me since then that it's bots that have done that. You know, people have these bidding bots. I was like, I didn't even know that. So I was very frustrated about that. I was very bitter about that. But I couldn't stop from getting the Sonic Adventure vinyl soundtrack set. How could I resist this? I'm just going to hold this here for a second. You know, on this show, a lot of people have asked me what I think of Sonic. And I think Sonic is a classic character. I liked it on the Genesis. I wasn't a huge fanatic, but I appreciated it. But man, when Sonic came on the Dreamcast, I fell absolutely in love. I don't know what it was, and the game is flawed. The controls are not great, there's a lot of problems, but I love the game. And the one thing I especially loved, I graduated film school, and I bought the soundtrack and CD to this. And I was sitting drawing, storyboarding every night. I was excited about the future, of where I was going to go with all the stuff I learned in film school. And this was the soundtrack to that summer and up till now. I still have the CD soundtrack. I bring it in the car. I know CDs are a little old-fashioned now, but I have a CD player in my car. I still listen to the music. I have every single song memorized. Let's have a look here. Let's see what we got here. This is one, I was bitter about the whole not being able to get a signed copy thing, but look at this booklet here. Really nice looking stuff. Oh, it brings back really warm, nostalgic memories about the Dreamcast and how exciting it was to see it wasn't an arcade game, but it was an arcade style of, graphical look of the game. It looked amazing at the time. Sonic Adventure was nothing short of wowing. And it's just really nice to see that there's a huge vinyl record of this, and I can listen to this in the other room, and I can't wait to start listening to this. Let's have a look at it. Here is the disc itself. Classic blue. Gotta have that classic blue. So I'm over my anger of not being able to get a signed copy. I was a little bit frustrated that, that it was so hard to get, but thrilled. And this only showed up the other day, and I was just like, just seeing the big artwork there, I was like, yes, this is awesome. Super awesome. Okay, here's a blast from the past, from the PS2 to now the PS4. My friend Andrew's, one of his favorite games on the PS2. I remember him phoning me back in the day saying, John, you have to get this game. You have to buy this game. And I was like, really? I don't know if it's my style of game. and that was Okami on the PS2 when it originally came out. This is a remastered version of it for PS4. You play as a wolf in a mystical Japan. It is really awesome. I remember playing it back in the day, and I was like, Andrew, I get it. I remember phoning him up and saying, I totally understand why you are liking this game. It totally, you know, I got it. And the music, the environments, the graphical look, it's just mystical in nature, and it's just so beautiful running, and the flowers are coming up. I didn't see this one coming. It's a budget title. I got it for about $29, just a little bit before Christmas, like a week before Christmas it shipped, and I was like, this is cool. So I can't wait to pop this up, you know, open and play it. And Kim was even asking me about this game because one of her girlfriends is playing it, and I'm like, yeah, so let's try this game together. So this is one we're looking forward to playing. Here we go. Limited run games. I'm not opening this copy up because I just downloaded the digital version of it, and that is Read Only Memories. This is an interesting one. I had some people telling me a long time ago, you got to give this game a try, you got to check it out, because it's like a graphical adventure style game like Snatcher. And I was like, well, you had me sold as soon as you said Snatcher. And it seems to be a graphical adventure game. I only booted it up just to see the kind of intro sequence, see what it's like, kind of like, what this graphical style was going to be like. And it looks really cool. It seems like it is set in the kind of future world, and you're hackers and all that kind of stuff. And that's really as far as I know with the story at this point. But it's one of these ones I'm very intrigued about. And when Limited Run put it up, I was like, of course I've got to pick it up. Of course I had to have a physical copy of this. And there was about 3 different variations of the cover. I, you know, settled on this one, and so that's pretty good. Actually, I think it was random. I don't know if it was random. Because I pre-ordered this a while ago. Can't wait to try it out. When me and Rob, I should say, before Christmas time, went to Willow Video Games in Vancouver here with our friend Satan. And while we're there, they had some of the cheapest used video games in all of Vancouver. They have always been the place to go to. And this is not an advertisement for them. Most of you watching this will never go to this store because you do not live in Vancouver. But they have an entire GameCube sections. And I was able to get Resident Evil 0. And you'll be like, what? You never had this game? Yes, I did have this game. But the weird thing is, over the years, I have video games that mysteriously go missing. I swear, I've been talking to friends of mine, I'm like, oh yeah, Resident Evil 0, it's over here, I can't find it. And I've looked and looked and looked and it's gone. Just like my Mario 64 is still missing, and oh man, that one still hurts me. I don't know what the hell ever happened to that. That meant something to me. Anyways, I was missing 0, and I bought it when it first came out. I bought it used just after it came out. Maybe I bought it from Willow. Wouldn't that be so funny? I remember peeling the big sticker off. I got it for like 35 bucks. I got this one for like $10, and I was like, yes. And it's a nice version of it. Manual, all that, looking really good. And I must admit, I'm not a huge fan of 0. I hate switching back and forth with characters and get this character to open a door here, and then, you know, switching up your inventory. Hey, you take this item and I'll take this item. That really just drove me nuts. But I did enjoy the game enough to want a physical copy of the GameCube version. A little nostalgic for it. So a lot of you may have seen in the summertime, I got a great chance, an opportunity to interview Koji Igarashi, who did Symphony of the Night and is working on Bloodstained right now. And I keep going on about this, but it was a really big moment for me. And so I had to interview him the next day. That night I sat up and I did so much research on him. I wanted to be fully prepared with a lot of interesting questions. And I had some questions I couldn't ask him, and I'll tell you about them right here. And this is one of the very first games he ever worked on, Tokimeki Memorial. It's a dating simulation game by Konami back in the day. This is released on the PC Engine. And just so you can have a look at that. This is the first game he ever fully designed and created and worked on. And the interesting thing about this is his wife, at the time girlfriend he met there, helped him come up with some story ideas for it, and she gave a lot of input onto this game, and later on he got married to her. So when I was doing the interview with him this summer, I was asking the PR person for Bloodstained, I'm like, is he still married to the same woman? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, because I want to ask him if his wife has had any input on bloodstains. And I was like, and he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to ask him that question in case he got divorced or something and we don't know about it. So I decided not to ask that question. But if I ever see him again, I'm going to have him sign this game because it is his first game that he ever worked on. And I thought that was really interesting. I'm like, really? He does a dating simulator for his first game? But that's a little bit of cool history there. Another unusual pickup, a Japanese pickup as well, is Super Robot Wars Alpha. And this was on the Japanese PlayStation 1. And I gotta be honest, back in the day on the PS1, my modded machine, I got copies of the game. And here's the thing, I absolutely fell in love with this game. It is all the different robots from all the different series. You may have heard of the Super Robot Wars series now, but you had Valkyries, you had, Turn A Gundam in here. You had all these different types of Gundams and robots from really popular shows all coming together. And it's kind of like a Fire Emblem-esque style of game where you move your troops around or your robots around from all different time periods of anime lore and have them fight against the bad guys. And it would always switch to incredible scenes of combat. And that was the one thing that I really loved. For some reason, I really embrace this being an anime fan and a video game fan and a strategy fan. And I wanted to get a physical copy. And here's the thing with Tokimeki Memorial and this, $10 each. $10 each from Japan. So you don't have to pay a lot of money for some really cool old-style Japanese games. And this is a really cool one. I want to say a big shout out to William, a guy who wrote to me. He sent me an email and said, hey, could he get some things signed by me? And I was really humbled by that. So I signed all this stuff off to him, and he sent me this package of candy from Singapore, and it was really, really nice from him and his girlfriend. And he also sent me this, and at first I didn't know what it was, and I'll just take off the slipcase here. I'm like, please not. This is, and this is not, let's do this right here. He burned the Sega Saturn translated ROM onto CD for me to play this game. It's kind of falling apart a little bit. It's very homebrew here, and I love it. And I can play it on my American Saturn with this RAM adapter right here. I was like, what the hell is this? And I wanted to give a big thank you to William for sending this out to me. This is just amazing. I'm like, what is this? And what a really cool thing, because I don't really have the ability to burn my own games and play them and have, hacks to play it on my Saturn. So this is something else, and I will play this game 100%. I'm a huge Policenauts fan, so again, thank you so much. So before Christmas, there was a lot of hype for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and it deserved it. It was a really interesting, fun RPG. There was a lot to it. Just like Xenoblade Chronicles X and Xenoblade Chronicles before it. They were very in-depth RPGs, but very fascinating nonetheless. And I was really enjoying the storyline of this. And I had to pick this up. This is a guilty pleasure. This is something that you're like, man, the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Pro Controller. The Pro Controller. And I'm going to open this up with you guys right now. I haven't opened it up yet. Okay. Oh, look at this. This is nice. Look at that. So there is the controller there. Try to do a 360. It feels good. It looks good. I'm a sucker when a really cool RPG comes out that I'm really looking forward to. I love to always get like the strategy guide or any extra things that come out for it. And for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, this was the extra thing that I was like, man, I gotta get that. And it's a guilty one, but it's a really awesome one. I'll just throw this over here. Now this is a very interesting item. This is from a Japanese girl. And let me explain this for a second. I was on Twitter. This must be about 4, 5, 6 months ago. One of my friends, Kiyoshi, who's friends with the Sega World Champion Chris Tang, I saw that he liked some Japanese girls pictures, like her cosplay pictures, and they were pictures from Phantasy Star. And I was like, oh, wow, this girl is Phantasy Star cosplay. And, you know, we're talking about the old school Phantasy Star, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't see that anymore. Nobody does that. She does like Alice Landale, you know, stuff like that. You never see anything like that. She does not. Pictures, like her cosplay pictures, and they were pictures from Phantasy Star. And I was like, oh, wow, this girl is Phantasy Star cosplay. And, you know, we're talking about the old school Phantasy Star, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't see that anymore. Nobody does that. She does like Alice Landale, you know, stuff like that. You never see anything like that. She does Nye from Phantasy Star 2. So I was intrigued, so I was just kind of scrolling through her profile to see what, you know, what other love for Sega that she had. And here's the strange thing. Do you know how weird it is to be scrolling through somebody's timeline of posts that they retweet or whatever on Twitter? And I saw my video for my Phantasy Star review from a long time ago. I think it was my Phantasy Star collection review. Looking at all the Phantasy Star stuff I had. She had posted it and said, oh my god, look at this person. And I had to do the translate because it was all written in Japanese. Oh wow, this person's really into the Mega Drive as well. It's so cool to see other Phantasy Star fans. So that was really neat. I was like, oh, no matter where you live in the world, if you're a fan of something, you automatically connect to other fans. And so she had released, this is really neat. She had released a book on her cosplay. And I'm gonna put it up right here. And this is her, Memi, and this is her cosplay from Phantasy Star. We have Alice and Nye, and the characters from 3 and 4. And I just wanted to take a little moment to show you some of these cosplay pics. They're so well done, and this is her book. And I'm just so thrilled that people are still doing Phantasy Star cosplay. It's really, really well done stuff, and I'm such a Phantasy Star fan that I wrote to her and I said, hey, how do I pay for your book? I really would love to get it, just because it's such a collectible, and it can go with my Phantasy Star, you know, collection of things. And she wrote back and she's like, I tell you what, I'll send you the book. I'll just send it to you. And she asked for my address and sent it to me, and I said, you know what, I'll show it in an episode because this is really interesting, and I think a lot of fans of Phantasy Star would really like to see this stuff. Like, here's me fanboying out. Look at this. Isn't that cool? She does Alice from the first Phantasy Star, and it's so well done. It's so well done. I really fanboy out when I see that, and especially because it is such an older series that a lot of people don't, you know, cosplay as it or even talk about it anymore. And it's really unfortunate. And she sent me a really beautiful letter, and she goes, Dear John, how have you been? I will send you the Phantasy Star book, I promise. Please read it. Please recommend it often if it is interesting. I love Phantasy Star too. I also want foreign people to read. Your YouTube broadcast is a lot of fun. Please continue broadcasting a lot. In addition, I put in the goods of Phantasy Star I made. I'm glad if you can be pleased. From now on, I will make a DVD containing cosplay photos of Phantasy Star. This year is the 30th anniversary of Phantasy Star. Let's get excited. Sorry, I'm not good at English. Sincerely, Memi. Thank you. I mean, it is so amazing that people in different countries can communicate with their love of this series. And she has a really neat little translated book here called Fanta here. And it's detailing all of her cosplay stuff. And it's all translated into English. And I will 100% read all of this stuff. And she sent me this like little package, and I was like, what the heck is this? This is so super nice. I just want to thank you, Memi, for sending this stuff over. And she's made, I don't know if we can we even see that? Yeah, these are like little